Yasui-san himself, you can see in the biography there, has a very distinguished career. After graduating from Tokyo University, spent, a couple of decades almost in the People's Republic of China, first with Mizuho Bank and then with Seven & I. And now is one of, the members of the Keidanren, of the, globalization, human resources committees that they have there, and is really very, very engaged. And most importantly, I think he's got a concrete example on how globalization, actually can happen. So let's listen to his story on Seven & I. Dozo.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Yasui, and I'm very happy today to have a chance to be here and to have a chance to talk some concepts to share with you. And so thank you very much, Jesper-san and Hidaka-san. And the title of today's discussion is Multicultural Coexistence in 7-Eleven. By the way, what is multicultural coexistence? We have the definition by Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications. People of different nationalities, ethnicities, and backgrounds living together as members of a local community while recognizing each other's cultural differences and striving to build equal relationships. Yes, but too long. So here, as a corporate initiative, we simply define here as creating an environment for foreign talents to realize their possibility. I divided today's contents into two parts. First one is to show you cases of trial about multicultural coexistence in 7-Eleven. And the second one is to show you my individual opinion among discussion with Jesper-san. Okay? At first, I'm to explain the situation of foreign talents in 7-Eleven stores. Thankfully, the number of stores in Japan is over 20,000 in Japan. And the number of foreign staffs there is around 40,000, which is around 10% of total staffs. And 80% of foreign staffs is international students, part-time job. By the way, the total number of international students in Japan is the level of about 300,000. So it can be said 10% of international students is working part-time job in 7-Eleven, 10%. And 20% at a convenience store, including other chains like Family Mart or Lawson or so. So we recognize our responsibility regarding the employment of foreign personnel. Responsibility. And what is responsibility? Social responsibility. 3 points. Number one, to adapt status of residence to work in stores for international students after graduation. Number two, to build environment and system to accept foreign talents and realize their possibility. Number three, to promote multicultural coexistence in the society. This is a detail of activity for responsibilities. And today I will comment on 2 points. One is status of residence permission to work in stores. And second is step-up assistance for Japanese language, business, and DX. The first one, to adapt status of residence to work in stores for international students after graduation. This is the starting point for the responsibility. So we negotiated with the authority, Immigration Service Agency, that the global talent who is supporting the owner's store management needs the knowledge of marketing and merchandising. It will meet the requirement of the permission engineer, specialists in humanities, international services, 技人国、技術人文知識国際業務. And recently, some test case is approved in Tokyo. So we are now expanding the case to other districts. And also, the government is driving a foreign student career development promotion program. So this yellow part is our mainstream. And as for the skilled, specified skilled worker, the new one is under discussion in ongoing issue. And second, we are to go on to the step-up concept. Questionnaire survey shows that the reason why 20% of international students are willing to work in convenience store because they can learn Japanese language there. Not only the conversation with customer. For example, in the back room, they can talk about new merchandise, analyze the sales data, and talk about the mutual role of the week or so. It involves the life scene, work scene, and business scene. So we just published this book, Konbini no Nihongo, Japanese language in convenience store, just published. And also, they can learn and understand the business and the DX through the work of convenience store. This is an old book published 15 years ago or so. なぜセブンイレブンでバイトをすると3ヶ月で経営学を語れるのか。Why you can talk about business after 3 months part-time job in 7-Eleven. So we're also preparing to make a textbook and learning course of business and DX in convenience store. This is the step-up concept. Blue part is study time and yellow part is work time. And it said that the 70% of international students are willing to work in Japan after their graduation. But only half of them can find the job and stay in Japan. The main reason must be their ability of Japanese language. Now, we can utilize the status of residence permission, which will enables them to work full-time, regular employee. And they can learn Japanese language, business, and DX while working. Learn while working. The part-time job is work while learning. And now they can learn while working. And after some period, they can seek their own dream. Maybe a store owner, maybe an IT engineer, or even entrepreneur. So this is the step-up concept. We established a general and corporate association as a framework for collaboration among companies and organizations that promote multicultural coexistence. Please visit the website of 7 Global Linkage. You can find 2 concept videos. Number 1 is made 4 years ago. A Myanmar girl is working in the store as a store manager, building trust and keeping a good relationship with the owner. And she said, her dream is to be a store owner someday. And recently, she realized the dream and have got the position of owner of a new store. Today, I will show you the second video here, only 2 or 3 minutes. First one and second one. And now, please.
将来はセブンイレブンのオーナーになりたいです。子供も今保育園で預かって働いてるし、これから2人目も産むから子供たちも日本で育てていこうと考えてます。 15年前に留学生として日本に参りました。学校の友達の紹介でセブンイレブンのアルバイトとして入って専門学校卒業してから店長として働き始めました。その時から石原オーナーさんみたいなオーナーになろうという夢が、持つようになりました。育児休暇とか取っていただいてバックアップいただいて日本では私のお父さんみたいな存在でした。
やはりね、うちで働いて僕は本当オーナーとして楽しい思い出いっぱいできたんで、それを見てて多分オーナーになりたいと思ったと思いますんで、だから本当にもう大成功して、ね、セブンイレブンに入ってよかったと、思ってほしいです。
従業員さんからも、非常にこう愛されていて、何よりも素直で、本当に真面目にこの店舗の業務をされているっていうところが第一印象でございました。
今セブンイレブンで外国人のオーナーさんっていうのは増えてます。ですのでメイさんはやっぱりこれから日本に来られる外国人の方々の目標になるのは間違いないなというふうに思ってます。
6歳と4歳です。すごくなんか生意気であんまり聞かないんですけれども本当これからもこちらで働きながら精一杯地域の皆様から愛されるお店に作っていきたいと思います。ミャンマーの国が平和になっていつかセブンイレブンがミャンマーで出店する時ミャンマーの1号店のオーナーになりたいです。
Now I'm to explain the background of the initiative. This is the projection of the population of Japan. It shows that the population of Japan is 120 million now and will 87 million after 50 years. And after 100 years, it will be 50 million or so, which is the same level with 100 years ago. And maybe lower, 30 million or so, because the rate of birth is now already 1.26. The rate for this projection is 1.36. So it will be 30 million or so. And I emphasize that both 50 years later and 100 years later is not far future, the time of your children or grandchildren, I mean next generation. And also, the important point is not the level of population, the rate of foreign people. The rate of foreign residents in population of Japan is 2.4 now, 2.4% now. And it will be 10.8% after 50 years. In our stores, the rate is about 10% now and will be, I don't know, but maybe 50% or so. So we must prepare to create an environment for foreign talents to realize their possibility and to promote multicultural coexistence. This is our concept.
Yasui-san, fantastic for this very, very good overview. So we're now gonna switch a little bit from the sort of official to your personal impressions and personal statement, because you've been, for how many years now have you been involved in the sort of building the community, greater acceptance amongst global citizens, amongst global employees at 7 & I? How many years have you been doing this? It's your life work almost, right?
So I've been to China about 15 years or so, and at first I'm working for our bank,
yep.
And go to 7-Eleven and promote the store operation in China, and come back to Japan. And my boss said the store owner will suffer very hard conditions of shortage of staffs. And you must think about the foreign people, foreign staffs. And I started this program about 6 or 7 years ago. So,
And so, sort of from the big picture, right? In your opinion, sort of immigration policy, right? What is the role of the government, right? What is the role of private employers, private companies like Seven and I? Is there a need for an immigration policy?
yes, it's a very delicate and sensitive matter. And I think if the purpose of so-called immigration policy is to cover or fill up the shortage of population, I think it's not necessary, because I have two reasons. One is that over 3 million people, foreign people, is already living in Japan without the policy. And number two, Japan cannot keep the population, maybe down to 30 million. So if the purpose of the policy is to keep the population, it's no use, not necessary. And I think the reason of the increase of foreign people in Japan is not by the policy. The reason is not policy, but an mechanism. I have one slide. The mechanism is osmotic pressure. Shintoas. You put sugar when you make pickles. It's the mechanism. Osmotic pressure causes water to flow from an area of lower density to an area of higher density. Similarly, people will move from places with a lower chance of job opportunities and prospects to more attractive countries. It's a law of nature. The water flow is law of nature. So even when you try to build a dam, it will overflow in the form of camouflaging students or refugee crimes. So the very important point is to secure the waterway and allow water to flow, revitalizing the dry field. This is flood control and irrigation. And flood control and irrigation is the origin of politics in ancient world,
Right.
And what is this? What is this density? I think the density is hopes for jobs and future. Let's consider from the viewpoint of foreigners' life plan to evoke the Japanese dream, while the American dream means few people becoming extremely rich. But Japanese dream is many people realizing life-size dream. And what is life-size dream? Especially for the Asian people. For example, owning their own shop, like Mason. If the dad says, I'm happy that I came to Japan, and the mom says, I love Japan and Japanese people, the children of the next generation will become new Japanese citizens, like 6 years old and 4 years old, the children of Mason. So the education for the next generation is important, very, very important, including Japanese language and basic education. This is my comment.
Right, fantastic. For the osmosis, right? People, there's this debate about integration. This debate about, in some immigration countries, you find, large communities of immigrants, right? A large Vietnamese community, a large Mexican community, and they're almost like not really doing the osmosis, but sort of sticking to their own, people. So in terms of, your views on sort of how to stimulate this integration, right? And really becoming, part of the community, part in this case, obviously, of Japan, of Japanese culture. What's your view on that?
Yes, it also be very sensitive and delicate problem. And I think the word multicultural coexistence have two meanings, and broad one and narrow one. And broad one is including integration, and narrow one. Integration is for the foreign people to come to Japan to realize their possibility, including Japanese language and step up skill. And on the contrary, the multicultural coexistence in the narrow meaning is for Japanese people who must consider how Japan should be in this world. I mean, global mind. So, as for global mind, I have another slide here. This is the definition, again, referred in the beginning. Multicultural coexistence is when people of different nationalities and ethnic backgrounds, while acknowledging each other's cultural difference, strive to build an equal relationship and live together as members of their local community. If we use the phrase and adapt to international community, it may be as follows. Multicultural coexistence is when countries with different histories, cultures, and their development stages, while acknowledging each other's challenges and circumstances, strive to build an equal relationship and live together as members of the international community. And the next slide is rather challenging, but my core of my opinion is liberalism and democracy universal values? Yes, of course. But is this only absolute universal values? There is no 100% market economy or 100% planned economy. It's all the mixed economy. Similarly, there is no 100% freedom or 100% order control. It's a matter of balance. The balance must exist by the people and for the people. By the people may be for the vote and not for the people. So each country is searching for the optimal solution based on their history, culture, and stage of development for their happiness. Please imagine a family conference discussing about the policy of education of your children or grandchildren, which must be a high priority. Jingi Reichishin, the 5 Confucian virtues, benevolence, justice, courtesy, wisdom, and sincerity. Or Jiu, Minshu, Jinken, freedom, democracy, and human rights, which must be higher priority. The majority answer must be both. Both. So this is the multicultural coexistence. So I think no need for conflicts like democratic nations versus non-democratic nations. This is my opinion. Thank you.
So, Yasui-san, you're a philosopher. You're a philosopher who aims to bridge in the real world with pragmatic actions. The gap or the difference between sort of a Western, sort of idea of, what is a dream, what is a worthwhile framework, versus the Asian, more Confucian values. Now, taking it down to the practical level, right? And this is a question that we did not rehearse, but I'm going to have to ask it. In your negotiation, so you've got this grand vision, very thought out, and it's working, right? In your engagement with the local authorities or with the national authorities, right? Over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, what have been some of the frictions that you had to overcome, some of the pushbacks that you got, right, from the people issuing the visas or passing the rules and regulation for employment? Just your personal opinion, what has surprised you positively and what has surprised you negatively, or as they see here, an area for future development? If you need some sake, I'm happy to give you some. These kind of things are best discussed in an akachochin, but you know.
It's the very point I'm struggling. And I think in Japan, so especially the old ages, have some concept which opposite to the immigration. No global minded. So today I show you is the my answer for them. I am to show this argument against them, not you. I think.
Right.
So now I'm doing the program of young people communications. So the change of generation will change the situation, I think.
For the sort of integration into the community, right? Specifically at 7&I, at 7-Eleven, at the convenience store staff, is there a lot of joint programs with the Japanese native workers in the store, or do you keep it separate, or is it all together? Is there how does that actually work at the practical level?
This program is now ongoing, and I'm speaking. I'm show this thinking in my company, but not started the how to say the concrete model of the integration in our stores. So so it's just started, and the starting point must be the residence permission.
Right.
And that was already cleared. And now we must start the program with the stores. And convenience store is the franchise system, and store owner and headquarter is the equal relationship. And so the headquarter must cooperate with store owners and realize this program. Integration means to realize their possibility. And Japanese language is also for their realizing their possibility, and not you must speak Japanese. This type of integration. Integration must be for foreign people to realize their possibility.
From the audience, any questions?
Thank you very much for your presentation, Yasui-san. Noah Snyder from The Economist. I was wondering how many other cases there are like Mei-san. How many other foreign store owners are there in 7-Eleven or in other convenience stores in Japan? And what do you think needs to happen to increase the number not only of Arubaito students working in 7-Eleven, but foreigners who are able to rise to become owners and store operators themselves?
The Mason case is not the first case, and so many some staff is saying that so yes now so many owner is for foreign people, and the concrete the suji number it's very hard because some people is already changed nationality. So, but I know some people, some Chinese or Vietnamese is already manage or be the position of a store owner. Maybe in Tokyo or so many, but I don't know the concrete number.
But it's interesting, right? But I mean, so there's obviously so there's been something that has developed over the last 20, 30 years, but sort of the top-down consciousness of corporate leadership embracing the program, that's sort of a 3-4-year-old initiative. Is that correct?
Yes, just started. And the start point is also Yasashi Nihongo, you know, English of plain English. And in Japan, we have Yasashi Nihongo, plain Japanese. And now we are using plain Japanese in the letter from headquarters to the stores, and which the store staffs can read.
This is very good. I think I need a couple of letters from the Kuyakusho that are Yasashi Nihongo rather than Muzu Muzu Nihongo. Right, so.
There's one question from the Philippines, Raquel, who studied at Sophia University. She says that she has been fascinated with 7-Eleven Japan, and it's even a destination for her each time she comes. Her question is, what are the challenges dealing with foreign workers that you have on your staff?
I said the convenience store is a system of franchise, and headquarter and store owner is the equal relationship, and we cannot directly do the management of stores. So we must make or let them understand the policy and this thinking. And now I must in the headquarters at first I must let the staff of headquarters understand this opinion first.
Right. 日本語でもいいよ。
そうですね。まずは社内にちゃんとこのコンセプトを広げることが重要ですね。
So the most important thing is to educate headquarters that they're not always the boss. Sorry, that's a very free translation.
Thank you very much, James Hollow from Fabric. My question was about what 7-Eleven is learning from your foreign owners. We know from history assimilation is actually it's always two-way, and the host can learn from and absorb culture from, in this case, the foreign workers. So my question to you, Yasui-san, is what's the one thing that 7-Eleven is learning or needs to learn from your foreign workers in order for it to be a successful collaboration? 一番 重要なラーニングっていうか、習っていかないこと、習っていかなきゃいけないこと。
In the sense of business?
Maybe kind of, yeah, the most important. So it could be business or culture or policy or maybe you were talking about you need to teach the headquarters something. I wondered what that was.
なんだっけ。The most important part in the business sense is we say 単品管理。This 単品管理 is the word of なんだっけあそこの、どこの大学？Yeah, word of なんだっけ in the University of USA 単品管理 is the English word 単品管理 Do you know? 単品管理to it's one of the merchandising to know the yes SKU and this is the basic of the management of the store and another so in the sense of culture so it must be the this is a universal culture for the stores the customer is God and it's same culture andそういうyes I said convenience store is the base and hub of multicultural coexistence. And I said multicultural coexistence in narrow meaning is for Japanese people to understand how Japan should be. I mean, global mind. And if the staffs of foreign staffs is working in the factory or in the agricultural farm, the Japanese people, Japanese citizens cannot see and contact with them. But if they are working at the convenience store, which is the life range of Japanese citizens, so you can see and understand how they are working. For example, Gwen-san from Vietnam may recommend oden for you, or Chen-san from China will send a lunchbox for you. So Japanese people will communicate with foreign staffs. And to understand the global mind, I think this 3 point is very important. One is information or intelligence, and literacy. And number 3 is empathy. The empathy is most important and most difficult. So if you can communicate with foreign staffs, you have the empathy for the staffs, and you can have the empathy for their mother countries. So especially the staff of the store, the Japanese staff of the store can communicate with foreign people, foreign staffs, and know how they are working. And they must have the empathy with them. This is the reason why I say the convenience store is hub and base of multicultural coexistence.
生谷さん。
Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. I'm Takako Hikotani from Asia Society, but my other job is I teach at the International Center at Gakushuin Daigaku, and I'm actually heading to new student orientation today. So my question is for the students who come for 4 years to our school, foreign students are mostly from Asia, and our exchange students are from all over. And I'm sure many of them have worked at convenience stores at one point. But do you take students at the headquarters level that are international? And if you do, would you value their experience working at one of the franchises? Because I think one thing I know, getting to know a lot of international students, is that they all love 7-Eleven. Well, not just 7-Eleven, also Family Mart, but they really like convenience stores. They think of that as one thing they really like about Japan. Because I ask the students, what do you like about Japan? They all say, oh, convenient, konbini. So I know that they're very interested, but I was wondering if they can think about staying on in Japan, working at the headquarters. Do you hire people, international students who graduate from Japanese universities, or who might come as exchange students?
So many staffs of headquarters, new staff have the experience of the part-time job of stores, not only Japanese but also especially foreign people. Some foreign staffs of headquarters have experience in the store part-time job, and we have the program to promote the store staffs to enter, of course, the store owner accept. And they have some case to under the experience of the store and enter the headquarters.
Yasui-san, let me ask you a question, because you are involved with the Keidanren committee, right? And obviously, I mean, Konbini is sort of a gateway to Japan, right? Because it's customer facing, right? You are interacting, at all levels, right? With all parts of society. And it's very different from manufacturing, right? Where you are locked inside a factory and you do go about your thing there. Tell me, sort of, is Seven & I sort of seen as a positive example, within the peers at the Keidanren, at the Japanese Business Association? Are there other companies that you personally think are doing a very, very good job of integrating, global citizens, global workers into their management and business practices? Just your personal opinion. What's the state? So 7&I is doing subarashi things, which is exactly what we would expect. But tell me a little bit your personal opinion on your peers in the Keidanren. Are they behind? Are they ahead? How would you classify that?
So I'm appealing these contents anywhere. And in the Keidanren, I'm the member of the Keidanren and the multicultural coexistence promoting committee of Tokyo Metropolitan. And I insist that the step-up programs is very important, but we can reach the person who is working in our company or our stores. We can reach, but he is not exist alone. They have a community, and they have children or something. Horizontal and vertical relationship. So the company cannot approach the community or children directly. So it must be, it's important of the relationship of company and municipals or some governments. So education and ethnic community, the relation with ethnic community is very important in the sense of government side, I think.
今、日本企業の中には大体そのまあ外国人の労働者とかなんかに対しては、で特に面白いとか素晴らしいことをやってるところはやっぱりセブン&アイ以外の会社は誰か特にやっぱりいます？
So many.
I think.
I can say.
You cannot say it's top secret. Okay, we need to go akachochin. This is no, but it's interesting, right? But so generally, so there's not just an awareness, but people are actually doing things. じゃあ実際はやっぱりそのまあじゃあ外国の労働者については考えましょうとか勉強会レベルよりも現場レベルにはやっぱり戦略的なことをもうやってるんですね。
そうですね。One is 優しい日本語 or learning program or something to promote the appealing this concept for the store owner. It's very important, I think.
Right.
Hi, thank you, Yasui-san, for the great presentation. I'm actually very curious about this slide about the philosophy part. So, like you mentioned, 仁义礼智信 and then freedom, they think. So it's kind of like a merging of the both Eastern and Western wisdom. So, unlike if we look at the global leadership nowadays in the giant company like Google, like Microsoft is also kind of like a foreign leader. So I'm curious about Seven & I. So over the years, do you see any changes in the senior management or like board members? Is there any like foreign people leading or like a more diversity or female leadership and things changing? Or is it still like major like Japanese male leadership still?
7-Eleven is originally from USA. And now spreading in China or other Asian countries. So this philosophy must be very important, I think. And not only the thinking, but also the action or concrete business can realize the thinking, I think. So I will appeal this thinking, and I hope convenience store or some Japanese companies will do and raise the voice of these thinkings.
But your point is absolutely crucial, right? In the sense that you've got this, sort of as it were, Western, more self-centered, concept versus, more integrated, community-focused, and that's a challenge that I think leaders around the world, right, not just in Japan, are facing very much.
Yeah, actually, I have received a very interesting question from one of my friends. He's a American Korean. So he wonders, like, because Japan is a hospitality tourism, I mean, people are feeling amazing when they're taking vacation here. And he's wondering why this amazing model is not spreading worldwide. And from a foreigner living in Japan, like my perspective, I feel like because in Japan, it's not about like the Western individualism, but people sacrifice a lot to, to create a society with rules and people make like convenient for everyone. But on the other side, you probably sacrifice a lot of your like individual rights or freedom as compared to the Western world. So I feel that even though you try to apply this model to like America somewhere, people may not willing to give up that right to do something, it's very hard to spread it.
You can never apply a model that is not American to America, but
absolutely
that's a long discussion. But like, look, this is what is so interesting. I mean, I think we can all agree that any immigration or integration policy, and even if you look at the big natural immigrant countries like Australia, like Canada, like the United States. There's frictions everywhere. Nothing is perfect. And Japan is just beginning on this journey. When I came here in 1985, there were about 500,000 non-Japanese living and working here. Now it's 3.2 million. Last year, actually, there were almost 360,000 people who got a work visa or permanent residency here in Japan. So clearly the trend is happening. The trend is accelerating. And the challenges in terms of the Shanai Bunka, right, the internal culture of these firms, because look at Seven & I. This is one of the most successful operating enterprises in the world, right, in terms of customer facing. This is one of the most successful retail globalizing enterprises, right? Originally from the US, perfected here, and now spreading, right, across Asia. So these are very proud organizations, and adapting and responding to the change, getting the feedback loop, right? What do you learn from a more international staff? What do you learn from more international management? These are, I think, the challenges that, in my personal opinion, companies like Seven & I and a lot of Japanese companies are actually, embracing in a very pragmatic pro form, rather than some sort of ideological predisposition, right? Really sort of listening to the feedback ground. So very, very excited to have learned from you. I want to thank you again. Your team has been fantastic, very, very diligent, excellent slides, and phenomenal presentation.